If you're new to my channel, thank you so much for joining me, and if you are not new, thank you so much for coming back. Today we are going to do a very, very late August wrap up. I read 10 books in August. It is currently August 15th, or September 15th. It is September 15th. It is currently September 15th. We are halfway through September. Had a very busy beginning of September. I spent a lot of time reading. I had to get through the After series. We're going to talk a little bit about that today, and then more in next wrap up. But I had to finish the After series. I had to go watch the new After movie, which we will also talk more about in my next wrap up, but we will touch on it in today's video. And then I went to New York. If you've not seen my New York vlog, it's down below. I went to go see Harry Styles. That's where the sweatshirt is from. I went to go see Harry Styles all the way in New York. It was the greatest experience. I loved every second of it. Go watch that vlog. But we're going to talk about the 10 books that I read in August. I did very good in August. I was very proud of myself for reading 10 books. It's been a while since I've read 10 books in a month. I started off the month with reading the third Heartstopper book. If you don't know what the Heartstopper books are, they are about Charlie and Nick. They are LGBTQ plus books. This is a graphic novel about Charlie and Nick. They are in high school, and this is just kind of about their relationship. There are some seriously heavy topics in this book, so look up trigger warnings, but I highly suggest reading this entire series. I read the first two in July, and then I read 3 and 4 in August. I gave this one 4.5 stars and this one 4 stars, I believe. I've got to get better. I'm looking at my Goodreads. I've got to get better about actually typing up a actual like review on my Goodreads, because I'm very bad about not remembering if I give half stars or not. I personally, this was my favorite of the 4, the third book, but this book was also very good. I just felt like this was very fast-paced. Like, it had a lot of time jumps that I wish it didn't have. I understand why it had them, but I would have rather have seen this time period in this book split into 2 books to be able to see, or to be able to have more detail about what was going on in Charlie and Nick's lives during this. These are YA. I highly suggest this series. It's very, very good. So I have Heartstopper 3 and 4. I read a book called Flopper. I know, it's kind of weird, but it's a hockey term. This is a hockey romance. So this is my first Colleen Charles book. I received it as an ARC, which I was very grateful for. This is the first in the Venom Vegas series. They're all going to be hockey player romances. This was about Noah and Molly. This was a very emotional book. It had a lot of heavy topics, mainly surrounding the death of a loved one. So be wary of that. Look up trigger warnings for this book. I love a good sports romance. I love a good sports romance. I felt like this was a sports romance that wasn't very it was more of a romance where the lead male just happened to be a NHL player more than it was a hockey romance. But I'm fine with that. Like I said, grief, huge topic in this book. Huge topic in this book. But I think this could be, if you feel comfortable enough, this is a really good book to, like, it takes on grief as a topic very beautifully. I think Colleen did a fantastic job with that. The only thing, I gave it 4 stars. The only thing that I had a problem with was sometimes there was time jumps and there wasn't like explanation to the time jumps, so it kind of confused me some. But other than that, this was a really good book. I really enjoyed it. I can't wait to read more from this series from her. The next book I read was Ricochet by KRISTEN Owens. This is the second book in the Addicted series. This was better than Addicted to me. This got 5 stars. This obviously deals with addiction. It is the Addicted series. So trigger warnings on that. I don't want to tell you too much about this book because it's so directly connected to the first book. This is a series. This is not a standalone series book. It is not like a lot of books that I read where it's different couples each book. This is the same couple as the first book. So anything I really tell you that's going on in this is going to kind of spoil what went on in the first book. But no, I enjoyed this more than Addicted. I can't wait for the third book. I'm so excited for the third book. I do see where people say that the first two books are not nearly as good as the rest of the books. I can see that kind of building and coming on. There was another relationship built within this book, which is going to happen in the Calloway Sister series, which I'm very excited about that one, especially. But Ricochet was beautiful. I loved it. It's Kristen and Becky Ritchie their writing is just so good. I loved it a whole lot. And then y'all, okay, I read Flawless by Eloise Silver on my Kindle. I'm gonna be reading a lot of Kindle books now, probably multiple a month, because I read in line to pick up my daughter, and it's just easier to have my Kindle on me. This book, y'all, ooh, this book I believe might have been her first book. I saw this all over TikTok and I was like, I have to read this. And Lord knows I am so glad I did. This is about Rhett and Summer. Rhett is a professional bull rider, and then Summer is actually Rhett's manager's daughter. And Rhett's kind of having some trouble with the media, and so Summer's dad is like, Summer, I need you to go like basically babysit Rhett through the rest of the season. And she obviously isn't very happy about it. Rhett's obviously not very happy about it. So it's forced proximity, it's one bed, it's sports romance kinda. I guess you would consider Rodeo a sports romance. He's a bull rider. I think I said that. This hit in all the right places. I feel like it's a really good fall book, even though most of the book takes place in like winter. I feel like Rodeo just gives me fall vibes, so I feel like this would be the perfect book to read like right now, where it's starting to get a little cooler outside. This book was so freaking good, so good. I'm so impressed. I loved every second of it. Please go read this book. Please, please, please go read this book. It's so good. It's like enemies to lovers. Oh, it's so good. I can't wait for the rest of the series. I'm so excited about this series. But Rhett is your typical like jerk. Summer is Spitfire. I love her. This book is so good. Go read Flawless. Next we have Eloise and the Grump. This was a really fun read. I received this as an ARC from Jenny Proctor. This is a Jenny Proctor and Emma St. Clair collaborative book. They wrote this book together. It's the first time I'm reading any of Emma St. Clair's work. I really enjoyed this book. It's not my favorite by Jenny. I gave it 4 stars. It was a very good book. I really enjoyed it. It is about Eloise, or Lo, as she is called mostly through the book, and her grandmother actually passes away, and so her and her sisters inherit her home that is on this really cute like beach town. So she, being the youngest sister, is kind of thrown into the job of remodeling the house so that they can sell it. So she's actually living in like a little cottage on the property where the house is, while she's overseeing all these renovations. And her next door neighbor was her grandmother's lawyer, who she had to meet during all this and inheriting her grandmother's house. And he is just a grump. His name is Jake. He's a grump. I mean, he's grumpy, and it's very grumpy sunshine. It's a very cute book. It's closed door romance, so if that's not your thing, read Flawless. But it's very cute. It's a very lighthearted read for the most part. All Jenny's books for the most part are very lighthearted, sweet reads. I really enjoyed this. Like I said, it wasn't my favorite Jenny Proctor book, and I haven't read anything else by Emma St. Clair, so I can't really compare it. But it was a very cute read. I really enjoyed reading that. The next 3 books we're going to talk about is a series I read by Melissa Grace. I actually received an ARC for the 3rd book in this series, A Long Way Home, which comes out October 4th. So it is right around the corner, but I read the first 2 before reading the 3rd one on Kindle Unlimited. So both of these first 2 are available on Kindle Unlimited. The first one is called Home is Where You Are. This is about Liv and Jax. Liv is a single woman living in Nashville. All of these books take place in Nashville, which I love Nashville so much. It's such a cool city. So to have some books take place there was really cool. But her husband, who is a big time record producer, left her for a younger woman because he's a jerk. We don't talk about him. But anyway, her best friend and her best friend's daughter end up coercing her into attending this concert for a band called Midnight in Dallas. They actually have backstage passes to meet Midnight in Dallas, and the second she walks in to meet them, her eyes connect with Jax, who is the lead singer of this band. It's like immediate love at first sight kind of connection. Liv is kind of reserved about it for a while because she's very scared after everything that happened with her ex-husband. So this is Liv and Jax's love story. If you don't like instant romance, you might not like this. I gave this book 5 stars. I loved this. I loved this entire series. I'm not going to tell you who the second couple is because it very much builds within this first book. All of the books are going to be about guys in Midnight in Dallas, like that are associated with Midnight in Dallas. So there's going to be 5 books in this series. So you're going to start out reading Home is Where You Are, and then you're going to read Home Again, and then you're going to read Long Way Home, which is coming out October 4th. Hi, editing Kristen here, realizing that I told you that I was not going to talk about Home Again because I didn't want to tell you who the couple was within that one because it builds so much in the first book, and then I told you nothing about Long Way Home. So we're going to talk about Long Way Home really quick. I'm going to read you the synopsis of this book really quick because I feel like it does a really good job of explaining it to you. But like I said, this book comes out October 4th. It's probably my favorite out of the 3, which is hard because book 1 was so good. But this says, Long Way Home is Joe Kingsley is having a really bad day and nothing is going according to plan. After her life goes up in flames, literally, she returns home to Nashville to figure out her next move. Soon after she arrives, Jo finds herself alone in a bar, licking her wounds when a knight in shining leather jacket unexpectedly comes to her rescue. Suddenly, the girl who's always had a plan finds herself throwing caution to the wind. Derek Knights is longing to be free from everyone's expectations and from a past he can't seem to escape. During a night out to clear his head, he meets a beautiful woman who makes him feel seen for the first time. When she disappears without leaving so much as a glass slipper behind, he's sure he'll never see her again, until he shows up to dinner at his friend's house and she's standing in the kitchen. When Jo and Derek reconnect, they give each other the courage to be their true selves, and their lives start to change for the better. But when Derek makes a life-altering decision and is ready to go all in with Jo, will she be ready to take the leap into an uncertain future, or will she fall back on old habits and the life she once thought she wanted? Long Way Home is the 3rd installment of the Midnight in Dallas series and is a story about the detours we take when becoming the people we are meant to be and the pieces of ourselves that we leave behind along the way. This book was so cute, and I think Derek is my favorite guy in Midnight in the Midnight. I think Derek's my favorite guy in the Midnight in Dallas series so far. Him and Jo just have like the sweetest relationship, and they really understand each other like as people and are really supportive of each other. So this book was absolutely fantastic. I gave every single one of these books 5 stars. I just loved this series so much, and I'm so excited to watch it continue. I could not get over how good this series was. Seriously, guys, please go read these books. They're so good. They're so freaking good. I loved them so much. I breezed through this series. I literally read all 3 of these books and After We Collided, which is ginormous, in like 15 days. It was, no, less than that, in like 10 days. I read all 3 of these books and most of After We Collided in like 10 days. So definitely check out that series. It's Melissa's first like series of books. I really enjoyed everything about them. Last book that we're going to talk about is After We Collided by Anna Todd. If you don't know already, I'm obsessed with the After series. Obsessed. I tabbed this whole book. I just haven't gone through and like the pages that I highlighted on, I haven't like actually tabbed them for this last half of this book, but I mean, it was serious. It was real serious right here in the middle. This was probably my least favorite After book. I have finished the main series. I have finished After We Fell and After Ever Happy. We will talk more about those in my next wrap up. But this was probably my least favorite of the 4 main books. It is just kind of repetitive at times. Don't get me wrong, I loved the book. It got, I think I gave it 4.5 stars just because it, like, I kind of got, like, right in this area, it got kind of, like, slow. And I stopped caring as much. I still cared, but I was just kind of pissed off sometimes. I get pissed off a lot during the series, but After We Collided, listen, if you read this book, if you read After and you love After, and then you read this book and you kind of get mad, please read the rest of this series. But it's so freaking worth it. It is so worth reading the rest of this series. I promise you, you will not be disappointed to finish this series. Please read the rest of it. Because it's so good. The way, I'm just going to say this. We'll talk more about After We Fell and After Ever Happy next month, but the way that Anna wrapped up this series was beautiful. It was impeccable. I loved it. Just read the rest of them. But After We Collided, I got 4.5 stars. And I'm so glad that I stuck with it and read this whole series and finished this book, because there was a couple, like probably a week where I didn't pick this up very much, but to maybe read like 2 or 3 chapters a day, and that's not much with the After series because the chapters are like 2 to 3 pages. But that was everything that I read in the month of August. I'm very proud of myself for reading so many books in August. I'm so happy about reading so many, and I think I'm on track to read about the same in September, so I'm very excited about that. But if you enjoyed this, thank you for sticking around while I blabber about these books that I read like a month ago. It's not very fresh in my mind. I've got to get better about like typing out my thoughts like right after I read a book, because then they all just kind of like run together sometimes, especially if they have similar plot points. I can't remember if it happened in one book or the other. But thank you so much for watching this. If you are not already subscribed, subscribe down below. Down there. Subscribe. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok and all those social media things. Goodreads. All that's linked down below. Thank y'all so much for watching this video, and I will see you next time. Bye.